At the beginning of today's show, I want to rock you with some numbers. As of today, June the 25th, the day we filmed, the US has reported 326 mass shootings in 2023. This year could break a new record, given that there have been more than 600 mass shootings in each of the past 3 years, and the highest number was 690 in 2021. It's even more shocking if you calculate the daily average, the equivalent of almost 2 mass shootings each and every day in America over the past 3 years. And do not forget, besides mass shootings, there have been more not that mass gun violence incidents happening in America every single day. There were over 26,000 US murders in 2021, and 81% of them involved a firearm. But here comes a strange contradiction. We've been watching, listening, reading to so many people calling for various forms of gun control laws for years. But at the same time, the statistics on US gun violence have just skyrocketed. So today, our question is, what is wrong with US gun legislation? First of all, many Americans are indeed calling for gun control laws. According to a 2022 national poll by the University of Chicago and the AP NARC Center, 71% of Americans say gun laws should be stricter, including half of the Republicans and a majority of those in gun-owning households. In terms of specific appeals, majorities want tighter background check laws and various bans. That makes sense because the current gun laws do have problems. From 1966 to 2019, 77% of mass shooters purchased at least some of the weapons used in the shootings legally. Americans are calling for change. They count on their representatives to do something. But what are their representatives saying?
3 precious little kids lost their lives, and I believe 3 adults. So it's a horrible, horrible situation, and we're not going to fix it. Criminals are going to be criminals.
Do you think there's any role for Congress to play in reaction to this tragedy? Obviously, this is your state now, but It's happened in every other state.
Oh, it's happening. It doesn't matter what state it's happening in. We're all Americans. It doesn't matter the color of their skin. They all bleed red. They're bleeding a lot. I don't see any real role that we could do other than mess things up, honestly, because of the situation. It's like I said, I don't think a criminal's going to stop from guns. You know, you can print them out on the computer now, 3D printing, and there's really, I don't think you're going to stop the gun violence. I think you've got to change people's hearts. You know, as a Christian, as we talk about in the church, and I've said this many times, I think we really need revival in this country. I think our ministers and our communities of faith need to come together and start preaching about love from the Bible, that's in the Bible.
We're not going to fix it. Criminals are going to be criminals. I don't see any real role that we can do other than mess things up. I don't think you're going to stop the gun violence. Mr. Burchett, you didn't get elected because you're less likely to mess things up, did you? You're expected to play a real role, and calling on the Bible to solve mass shootings doesn't sound like one of them. Now guys, do you also think politicians should do something about gun control? And what do you think is holding up the legislation? Well, I propose one. The political gridlock. While some politicians have surrendered, others are working hard, but they are often greeted with one failure after another. Here are some mass shootings in the past decade. Politicians did propose bills or measures before and after these tragedies, but all have failed in different ways. After the shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School in 2012, in which 26 people were killed, Congress proposed a bipartisan bill and some bans. Many senators, including some Republicans, rooted for the bill, but it failed to get the necessary 60 votes. Back in 2015, 14 people were killed and 22 were seriously injured in a San Bernardino shooting. One day after it, the Senate rejected 2 gun control proposals. The shooting at Paul's nightclub killed 49 people and wounded 53 others. But after that, the Senate failed to pass legislation that could restrain gun sales. Gun control measures were also proposed after the mass shooting in Las Vegas in 2017, in which 58 people died and more than 500 were injured. However, the measures failed to pass in Congress. And this was a close one. After a mass shooting at El Paso, Texas Walmart that killed 23 people, House Democrats passed bills to strengthen gun background checks. However, Republican Senator Mitch McConnell, the majority leader at that time, said he would not take up any legislation unless then-President Trump agreed to sign it into law, and Trump had long ago said he would veto it. These are only a few examples. The political gridlock on gun control legislation is haunting the nation's conscience. John J. Donahue, a professor at Stanford Law School, has studied gun control laws for years. He laid it all out brilliantly in an opinion piece for The Atlantic. He said, "Gun violence now in the U.S. is a national disgrace that illuminates the ability of American political system to adopt numerous popular public policy strategies, which," he said, "together could substantially reduce the prevalence and destructiveness of these events." Okay. Now some may say, even if it's so difficult to get gun control laws enacted, some have been passed. That's right, especially at the state level. Due to more and more mass shootings in recent years, politicians have worked on some proposals seriously because of shifts in the attention of the media and constituents. However, a close analysis of their content may surprise you. Before we jump into the surprising part, first and foremost, let me emphasize two things. There are not just our common sense intuitions, but also the conclusions of researchers. Number one, more guns, more mass shootings. Number two, the more relaxed gun laws are, the more mass shootings are to happen. So, every time a mass shooting occurs, public opinion is overwhelmingly in favor of tighter gun control laws. It does sound reasonable, as we can see in these research findings. However, and here comes the surprising part, and what actually happened is probably the opposite. A Harvard study found that the annual number of laws that loosen gun restrictions doubles in the year following a mass shooting in states with Republican-controlled legislatures. But in Democrat-controlled states, mass shootings have no significant effect on laws enacted. Moreover, there is, I quote, "no significant effect of mass shootings on the enactment of laws that tighten gun restrictions." Imagine that. Now, this is scary. The findings of the paper, combining with other studies we just talked about, have drawn a vicious circle. More relaxed gun laws, more mass shootings. However, more mass shootings do not significantly result in more stricter gun laws, but in turn lead to even more laws that loosen gun laws. Then start over, more relaxed gun laws, more mass shootings. Round and round, it's like a turning table. It turns faster and faster. The plates and bowls are thrown to the floor, are shattered. And then, here we are.
A violent weekend across the country. There were several mass shootings, including 2 here in California.
Multiple shootings reported in the city tonight. Police say they were related. 2 victims were shot and taken to the hospital.
We are following that breaking news out of Illinois. At least 20 people were shot during a Juneteenth celebration. One of the victims has died. Police say the shooting happened around 12:30 this morning as a large group gathered in a parking lot in Willowbrook.
The Harvard paper is just an academic study and it does not portray all the details of real life. But after reading it, I kept thinking, why? Why do so many gun tragedies lead to a loosening of gun controls, but not a lot of laws that tighten them? I mean, the two parties in the United States have been fighting over guns for decades, and both sides seem to be shouting pretty loudly on TV. But how can the legislative outcomes become so different? Another research paper I read suggests that it might be a result of a difference in political behavior. People who favor relaxed gun controls are more likely to take actions like writing letters and contributing money than those who want more restrictions. As a result, perhaps their voices are more likely to be written into the law. And mulling over this logic, I found it might be true. And before we were conscious of it, the severity of gun violence in the United States may have already driven many people out of anger, out of confusion, out of surprise, into a kind of emotional numbness. And when people are calling for leadership, are America's politicians doing enough?
Because what they did, what they do, the way they politicize guns and violence led us to this day where, and I don't know what the latest number is, I think we have 14 dead parents, loved ones, who their world is spinning, who right now have to think, how am I going to plan a funeral? Who right now have to think, what kind of casket? Who right now have to think, all I did was send them to school, and I have to plan their funeral.
Still live it to the faith, the Bible? Mr. Burchett, what do you think? All right, that's for today. Thanks for watching. If you like our show, please remember to click like and subscribe on Pablo, and see you next time.